This day 1186 of the Arukh HaShulchan Yomi. Like sponsor coming to share more of the Arukh HaShulchan Yomi. It's going to be directly, very greatly appreciated. You're doing your Desim Kuf, you test, Sif Tez Vav, so you test. Boy. Okay, let's see the really long Sifim here. Test Vav. Kasser Torah Shulchan Aruch. Not pretty long. Kasser, no, except for the first one. Kasser Torah Shulchan Sif Gimel. The Ap Mishu Kasser Lechol Dvarim. Even somebody who's a suspect of eating forbidden things, you're allowed to give this person who's suspect your own food, so that the suspect person should pick his frame or cook for him. We're not concerned they might switch it for his, because it's not a suspect on theft. You know what I'm saying? If you give it to someone who would like to benefit you, in Mara's case is he's going to bring down the case. Um, who also is suspect of eating forbidden things, also is forbidden. The Shemi Skalkel Mashinoselo, because maybe what you give this person will get ruined, and he will switch it for his own upgraded food stuff, which is also Ketza. How so? If you give your mother-in-law Isser who's suspect on prohibited substances, also you're not allowed to take back what you get. Because she's embarrassed to give her son-in-law something inferior. But she wants to make her daughter look good. That's why she changes what was bad for something good. Also something he gives to an innkeeperess who's suspect. Sometimes she's embarrassed of the guests, and she upgrades the bad mutter stuff for good usher stuff. Nevertheless, you're allowed to give him food for safekeeping, or her. And they give you back whatever you gave them. Meaning, the came in the it's not suspect on theft. But rather, we're just concerned that for the benefit of the giver, they're going to change. This only applies when you're giving it to them to fix the food. In this case, we're concerned maybe won't fix it successfully, or won't be suitable to fix. And he's going to exchange it for his own. But if you give him food to safe keep, which is supposed to get back as received, he won't be embarrassed to give it back as is. Even gets ruined. Okay, but you lost. Since he didn't do anything with it. You can't ask why is somebody who's suspect to eat treif not suspect to switch, because he's not suspect on theft. And then somebody who's suspect on one thing is not suspect on other things, as we shall see. By then we learned previously that somebody is suspect to eat is suspect to sell. So, and when he sells something which is prohibited, and when he takes money for this, this is in fact true theft. Because we're the buyer to know this is prohibited, the cloud wouldn't buy it all. Chuba said the answer is even though, strictly speaking, that should be the law. Nevertheless, this person doesn't think that selling davar isser is theft. He doesn't look at it that way. He rationalizes why it should be permitted. But to literally steal, that is not suspect. Chazal said a similar thing about lo sachmal even though lo sachmal you're over, even without giving money. Even lo sachmal you're over with giving money, despite the fact that you pay for the object. The fact that you covered it in and of itself is this. People don't look at it that way. People think it's only lo sachmal if you don't pay. Even though it's not the truth. Is that what you learned, that with somebody is suspect, you need two seals? That's somebody who actually is suspect to switch. But somebody who is suspect to eat ain't circling. We don't require any seals. Then is not suspect to switch. And this is coming up later today. I want to point out something, which should have pointed out in yesterday's Arukh HaShulchan, which is that there are women who don't cover their hair, who are very meticulous and cautious. It certainly was true in the past, and it's still true today. And therefore, if you, even though strictly speaking, one should say, well, if a woman doesn't marry, a woman doesn't cover her hair, maybe she should be chashud. We don't we don't hold that way halacha l'maisa. I'm sure there are people who do, but I certainly do not. And this has to do with mashmul inche, like it says here, that these women grew up and they were not taught that this is something which is essential or definitive. Even mitzvahs require mazel. Mazel so some mitzvahs do, and even Ramosha himself, right? Ramosha writes that a woman who doesn't cover her hair, it's not grounds for divorce like it once was. So therefore, every situation is relative and has to do with the person's general credibility and general demeanor and what they are makbid on. So, in theory, there are people who perhaps are choshed on one thing who are totally not choshed when it comes to kashrus, and they have absolute nemanos. Tezain, Fimash is Barakon, which explained the Chamosa Pundakis Miskabenes, that the mother-in-law and the innkeeperess are doing this because they think it's a good thing. Well, if we know that this innkeeperess couldn't care less about the guest benefit, Mutter, you're allowed to eat what you give her. So the mother-in-law, she couldn't care less about her daughter. She's not embarrassed of her son-in-law. So, okay, Azapi Perish Rashi B'chulin. That's going Rashi. Avol Taisus Pirush Shem Ta'adra. The contrary, Putekis Machlifis Tov Sharech Barash Allah. The innkeeperess takes the good stuff of the guest and substitutes the bad stuff of hers. She the Moris Hetelat's mom. And then she rationalizes this for herself. She takes the superior grade because she's putting in work here. Ayin Sham. Coin this when she does it for free. It doesn't matter what, because she can be more heter and switch. Africa in the country, if she gets paid for work, no matter what, the ain counter she's not going to rationalize switching. Now, Perish Rashi, but according to Rashi, it's also when she has in mind to benefit the guest or the son-in-law. Yudzayin, but Rambam Zal Perik Yudal Meisus Dinu Base. It's a different approach. Somebody gives to an innkeeperess to bake for him and to cook for him. He has to mice what he gives her, so he shouldn't cause her a stumbling block. What he gets back from her, because she's suspect to switch one's food for another's food. But somebody gives to his mother-in-law or to his neighbor, paslefo's bread to bake, and a dish to cook. He's not concerned. She's not suspect of switching. Talking about somebody who brings grain to a miller who's an amaretz harei mechazkasan. Whatever you give him is what you assume you get back. Is not suspect to switch to chulei. So to somebody who could leave something with safekeeping by an amaretz harei mechazkasan, whatever the status was when you gave it, the status when you get it back. This feeling holds gankin the choshu lechol and choshu lachliv. Somebody who's suspect to eat is not necessarily suspect to switch. That which it says in our shas. The rights of takanos bita that with your mother-in-law it's also because she wants to enhance her daughter's stature. He rejected this. The zealous first Rabbi, that's large Rabbi. Chachamim plead as I'm argue. He used to be shouting perky with the mic. But Chachamim looks like Chachamim. Budakas feel like Chachamim. The Chachamim Chashuda, and by Budakas the Chachamim hold she's suspect no matter what. Like the mother-in-law. Lo nizbar li madua grista pundikis. Not clear me why the innkeeperess is worse. And the other the kavana kenu. So it seems that this is what he means to say, and it seems actually from the Rambam this is correct. Because there are lots of guests. So women don't pay that much attention to being meticulous and figuring out who gave what and what should go back to whom. What should be given back to whom? She's not meticulous not to switch the food of one guest from the food of another guest. And that's called she's suspect to switch, not deliberately. She's not going to not pay attention. Somebody is suspect to eat things which most people are not lenient about. Avhu chashul lachlif is also suspect to switch. Yeshim some say she'em afkin so davar asim min Torah. You can't give him a safe gaming something which could be also deraisa. El shnechol samos unless it's two seals. Akan l'shono. Berdbar means to say the zesh is by chashul lechol and chashul lachlif. That's what he said. That something is suspect to eat is not suspect to switch. Zel b'dvarim shebarabim megim mahagavam. That's in things where where many people are lenient. Kemo demai chayotze such as stuff which you don't know if it's mice, etc. The stuff of love it is. So that he doesn't do the isser switching. But things where most people are not lenient. Afagav the chashul davar echad ein chashul even though somebody who is chashul for one thing is not necessarily chashul for other things, become nevertheless lenient zeh atzmo, and for this itself habikav rayon. Gomer, he's like a total sinner. Ve'ein lo shum nemos, he has no credibility. Some say the chashul is that tzarchnei was some of the davar asim Torah. Some say that somebody who's suspect in this manner requires two seals, and any what he had, on something which could be also the raisa. The davar shasim mirabanan, something which is also only mirabanan, could be also only mirabanan. So some echad only requires one seal. Far heavy day azur rabin ramah, but see if you chesi faf. Ramah rabin brought this in the last simon. Says shevi din zevakan that we brought this halacha over here. Avagav lo ma'ir b'simon zeh being chesim. No, this simon is not talking about seals. Mishum lechachas din zeh, because the proof of this halacha that chashul lechol dvarim she'im rabim regim lakel. Somebody is suspect to eat things which most people do not lenient to eat. Bohem. Chashul gam chlivin, he's suspect also switch. Makormi bale deozu. So this halacha is the source of it is the from this opinion from the those who hold this opinion. It's relation zesh omer hashas that which the shas says the search nechol samos they need to seal so b'chashul is by somebody who's suspect, which because the Rashi Torah said by his Arukh kachas michlokan. So it's about these are similar shitas. The people are suspect because they're mako things that most people are mako, and people are suspect and therefore require to chosamos. Amnam b'emes raya mibali de'ezul fi mashkalam b'sim kufi chesiv chesiv ma'ir choshel lachlif, but it's not necessarily comparable because the kufi chesiv is somebody who's actually suspect to switch, not somebody who's suspect to be lenient. As we are the shach and the pre-chodesh right. You test. Avtimiani was astonished about this. Okay, that's Rash opinion. Become have a Iraqi day. He's only a solitary opinion. The Rosh Poligole, but the time the Rod argues in him with logically. The Choshul Dover Echad ain't a Choshul Dover Acher. Somebody is suspect to one thing is not suspect to another thing. Can Echoshu Lachlif so how is he suspect to switch and to steal? But actually, Mishmer Sabayis Locha Lo Yeshib is that I'm speaking. The Rashba's response in Mishmer Sabayis is not sufficient. He just wrote that for this matter, he's like a sinner. He has no credibility. It's not sufficient. That kate have is not suspect on stealing or switching. And clear evidence for this is Rashba. The Rashba himself in Torah Sabayis leaves out this halachah. Must have seen the words of the law are good and present. Thank us about Magid. My Mishnah writes, that's a Rambam Sham. That's also been the Rambam, the Eresh Shakosab. He says, somebody who buys meat and sends it in the hands of an Amoritz. I raise an Amoritz. Amoritz is believed. I believe she no moksa but kashrus, even though he's not, doesn't have presumption of kashrus. Nevertheless, ain't chashim lo shem yachli. We don't suspect him of stealing by switching. Bus have a vadid varm shein rabbin giving l'hakabim. Meat is something which, for sure, people are not accustomed to be lenient with, and yet, evidently, here, even though he himself, I guess, is lenient, we still rely on him. I'm sure we know that. Okay, McCoy can McCoy Rashul Mashita so serving the Be'inan B'Choshul Chaysim to Chaysim. Since the main source of Rashba is from those who hold that when somebody is suspect, you require a double seal. Very Choshev Shom Green mentions there cheese. You have a Davish Rabbim Kilobam, and cheese is something which the masses are lenient concerning. Which because Rashba Tzum Tshuva, and that's a term before the Hefech, and it also seems to say the opposite. Because a Beni Muchashav Yisrael, whether he's suspect in the Daraisa, was that Kamashena Choshev Lachlif, and yet nevertheless he says he's not suspect to switch. Right? Isra Surah Torah Vade Avi Dvarim Shen Rabbim Nokabam is making this Torah. It's certainly something which most people are not making. Yosemi said tomorrow morning, this is astonishing. The Rashba Atzmo Kosav Shechayat Choshul before Big Day Tzemer Sholo. The Rashba wrote that a tailor who's suspect to sew his woolen garments bepishlan with linen to make shatnez. Koko Mutli Tainlo Kambushit for nevertheless allowed to give him kambus hemp to sew. Lojin Leshiaklif, we're not concerned he's going to switch it for shatnez material. Even though he himself is suspect in this. Kilayim ain't a rabbi Mergim Logabem. Now, Kilayim, Shana is something which the masses are not lenient. Vod Shirabena Beisesev Atzmo. The Beisesev himself writes, in his opinion, names of there is one who says, because of Zebekan, the Din Muslim high write this here as a simple halacha. Many people argue. Who had some chazar with Teresa Baisa Kotzer, and Rashba himself reneged on this in Teresa Baisa Kotzer. The bracket says here, Brian Baragolas, Oskov Cheshot, so let's see how the Yeshomrim, Kodim wants to move the Yeshomrim, Lamash came in a shach, some doesn't see the shachling the way, Gam Enim Shech Indian Hurricane, that's the way from the continuity of the Simon. Yubale Ledina Rasor Postgame and okay. Most postgame hold not that way. In other words, that not like the Rashba, he's choshed for one thing is choshed to switch. No, not choshed to switch just because he's choshed. Even on something which rabbim are not, the rabbin are not makulin. Okay, I think that's it for today.